We're starting something new here at News Radio 1080 KRLD. It is the KRLD World Tour in conjunction with Carr Travel.
Hey everyone, I'm Kristen Diaz here with David Rankin. We have Casey Carr with Carr Travel joining us today. And this is really awesome. You guys have more than 50 years of experience traveling the world. And now our listeners get to have an opportunity to travel with you.
Thank you, Kristen. We're so excited to be here. We're so excited for this program. And yeah, like you said, we're 55 years actually in 2024. Will be our 55th anniversary. So we've been doing it for a long time. We've been doing it here in the Metroplex. We've sent thousands of people all over the world to exotic destinations, including yourself, David. Mm-hmm. And we're just so excited to be here and share this wonderful program with the KRLD listeners.
What you're able to do is they bring travel opportunities that you might not get the chance to ever do. And a lot of people these days tend to like to try to book their own trips, but they never can get the deals that you can at Carr Travel.
Yeah, that's what we find. You know, we've seen a return to travel agencies. It's funny, people think of us as a sort of antiquated, but I think people have had enough experiences where they're booking something online and maybe not getting exactly what they want, or maybe piecing things together a la carte and paying a lot more for it. And what our group program does, I think, is put all of these things together, all of the highlights that you want to see in a destination. And we work in some free time as well, so you can fade into the back alleyways and live like a local a little bit. And we price the packages right. You know, we pack a lot of value into these trips, a lot of bucket list things that you want to see, and they're great. We attract people from all over the Metroplex.
Look, Casey, you said this was maybe antiquated. I see this and I'm like, check mark, check mark, check mark, because I'm one of those people that I want my groceries delivered to me. I'm on Amazon every other day. And if I can talk to you guys to put together my travel itinerary, I am sold. This seems like just a no-brainer for anybody who just doesn't want to deal with the stress.
Yeah, no, you said it. We take on the stress so that you get to have all the fun and enjoy your trip, which is what it's all about, right? We take all of that stress away from you, the planning. And also, we've been to these destinations, so we know what there is to see. We know the right things to see. We know the right neighborhoods and hotels to put people at. We've been doing this long enough that we have all these packages so dialed in and these destinations so dialed in that we maximize your time in destination.
And this is it. You get to see the world with the KRLD World Tour. And the first trip we're going to be taking is on the other side of the world. This is a fascinating trip that we're planning with Carr Travel. Tell us about the first trip.
Okay, Tuscany.
Woo!
One of the most beautiful places. We wanted to start big, right? We wanted to go big for our very first trip. And Italy is probably our biggest destination. I think it's the most romantic destination on earth. But it doesn't have to be that. Even if you're just traveling as a single or whatever you want to do, you can travel as a family. Italy is just brings so many things together: the culinary experience, the cultural experience, the scenery, the vistas that you'll see. And I think Tuscany is the most beautiful part of it.
And the whole thing is going to Italy itself kind of encapsulates all of what Europe has to offer. As you said, it brings it all together in just one nation. And that's what this trip looks like it's going to be.
I agree. Yes. No, that's exactly what this trip is. We've got it. We have. You're going to have guided touring during the day. And the beautiful part about this trip is that we are staying in one hotel. One thing, I've grew up on these tours, David, as you know, and I love doing tours, but often it's a lot of hopping around and packing and unpacking and moving hotels, and it can be very exciting, but I love the pace of this tour where we are checking into one hotel right there in Montecatini Terme, which is a beautiful thermal spa resort town. Nice. We are staying at a fabulous resort called the Gran Croce di Malta. Mm-hmm. And that is our home base for the entire trip. And we'll hub and spoke out from there to see all these different destinations.
And these are day trips too.
That's right.
The other locations that we're going to get to go to they're day trips to incredible other towns in Italy.
That's right, and we've included some really special experiences also that I'm sure we'll touch on in a moment. But that's the best part of this trip to me, honestly, is that we have the one location and that we'll be doing day trips out from here and there, because it's also allowed us to work in some free time, which is important to me on any tour, to have just some time to myself to break away from the group, go enjoy the city myself. Like I said, walk down those cobblestone alleyways that people might not see, or just park myself at a cafe and people watch. You know, Italy is is a perfect place for people
yeah.
watching. I was there just 4 or 5 years ago, and my wife and I actually took a train to Florence, which I know you've been to Florence, Kristen.
Yeah.
It's an incredible city. We'll see it on this trip. And I remember we were just sitting on the train watching all of these people, and this couple came and sat down across from us, and they were the most beautiful couple either of us have ever seen in our lives. We were just, our jaws dropped, and that's all we could talk
There's
about.
something about just European people, period, when you're all across Italy or anywhere, you just see people and you're like, is everybody just gorgeous? Everybody looks like a model around here? Like, there's something about, it's very unique about them.
That's exactly right. I'm jealous of that.
Yeah. Same.
But, so the people watching is wonderful. And also just the culture and the interactions with people in Italy. Italians love Americans. They love tourism. Tourism is the backbone of all of Europe, but especially Italy. And so they love to see us there, especially what the past 3 years have been like. They're very excited to welcome tourists back into their town.
And there is a hunger for Americans to see the world again. It's not just seeing the United States, but they want to be able to go to Europe again as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And finally, it's opened up, right? Just in the past couple of years, we've been able to travel back to Europe for a couple of years now, but things have been closed down. Services have been catching back up, and now everything is rolling full steam in Europe, and it's possible to go and just have an incredible trip.
Let's talk about some of those experiences, though, that you have planned for our listeners who are going to be participating in this.
Yes, well, so lots of different cities that we're going to be going to and touching on this trip. For one, San Gimignano, if you've ever heard of that. First of all, have you guys ever seen, there's a movie called Under the Tuscan Sun.
Ah, yes.
Did you ever see that?
Yeah,
I
of
do
course.
not. Yes, such a good one.
It makes you want to go there.
Yeah, it makes you want to go
experience.
there. And I watched it leading up to this trip and just was blown away once again at just the vibe of this trip. And it's the culture and the cuisine and that's what we've tried to do with our itinerary, is build in some very special experiences around that and some very special highlights to the itinerary, like San Gimignano, which is a medieval city up on a hillside. It's arguably the most beautiful city in Tuscany. It overlooks the valleys and overlooks all of these vineyards and castles off in the distance. And it's a wonderful experience. We'll do a full day walking tour there with a local guide. We'll taste some of the local cuisines. We'll also visit Pisa, so you can stand there and put your
With the requisite holding the tower up.
Yeah, definitely have to have the Instagram moment.
It's a great experience. It's kind of, yes, like you said, it's one of those Instagrammable experiences. But we'll visit Florence, which is very close to Pisa, and we'll do a walking tour of the old town, stopping at the Duomo, which is the most beautiful spot in Florence. Of course, our main spot, Montecatini Terme, where we'll have our home base, is a thermal spa resort. So when we're not out touring, we'll be back at the hotel, enjoying ourselves, enjoying that beautiful town, enjoying the spa. And in the meantime, our wonderful private guide that we'll have with us, who, David, you've been on these trips. Those guys make the experience. They're like comedians with PhDs.
Yes.
Exactly. And they can answer any question you could possibly have, because there's not a single question that they haven't been asked before, even what you might consider the dumbest question. I'm sorry, I don't know what to expect. Do the toilets flush or something like that? They've answered all these questions before.
It's true. And their knowledge is encyclopedic. You can point at a tree and say, I've never seen that tree. What is that? And they'll say, oh, well, that's a Adelphus spinelli, blah, 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 whatever. And they know exactly what it is. They know everything, all the details, and they really bring the experience to life and add so much to it. And it's something that you don't get when you're traveling on your own.
That's one of those things that sometimes for some of our listeners they're watching this, they may not have ever had an experience like this, let alone going overseas. That comfort level is so great to know that, one, you guys are taking care of all of the planning. And then two, once they do get there, it's not like you're just left to fend on yourself. You actually do know that you're going to have this, tour, you're going to have this tour guide and somebody who's going to be able to be there with you in case anything, happens. You have a little bit of a security blanket there.
Yeah, of course. You have the security of that. And also, let's talk about group travel, because it's funny. We'll talk to people every now and then who'll be like, I don't really want to be a part of a group. I like to kind of do my own thing. And I'll say, well, okay, let's talk about your itinerary. What do you want to do? they'll say, well, I want to go to this city and I'll probably book 2 or 3 group tours. And then I want to go to this city and I'll probably book 2 or 3 group tours.
That gets expensive.
That gets very expensive.
And you're going into a group
and you're doing the same
atmosphere.
thing.
Yeah.
You're doing the same thing that we're doing, but we're packaging it all together. You're getting a major discount on what the tours are, and you're also getting special access. We skip the lines at a lot of the places that we're going.
That's what I'm talking about. Get to the front of the line.
Exactly. And we also have we've built in some very, very special experiences. One of the things I wanted to talk about on this tour is our visit to the cheese farm, where we're going to learn how they make pecorino cheese. We'll be able to taste samples and things like that. And then we've been invited into the home of a local family where they're going to prepare a meal for us. We're going to sit down with the family and dine together, break bread together, and that is a magical experience of a cross-cultural, just a bonding experience where you're learning about what their life is like. They're learning about what your life is like back home. I personally, that's the major value of travel to me. It's an education, and it's finding out that we're all the same around.
You kind of dream like you're actually living there, for that little split moment.
Yeah.
And the whole thing, as you mentioned, the fact that you get to actually meet and sit down with a family, that's just as important to them too, isn't it? They love hosting these kinds of parties, to be able to say, we had a whole bunch of Americans come in and we got to learn, and those are always really, really special and some of the most memorable parts of the trip.
Absolutely, and like you said, for them as well, it's important to them, and obviously they're doing it. They're opening their home and bringing all of these people in, and they get to go to their friends and say, I just had the most incredible meal with 20 Texans. I learned all about Longhorn cattle and all of the things in the Dallas Cowboys. And
we got to bring our own culture to them too, know.
And the other wonderful thing that I've always found about these trips is bonding with the station that I listen to, the radio station that I listen to, the people that I hear on the station all day long, David, you and Kristen, that I listen to all day long, to be able to actually then be in a place like Italy and having this experience together with like-minded people. And just sharing that bond together is really a brilliant part of these tours.
And one thing about these tours as well is you get to meet people on the tour that you very likely are going to become friends with.
Yeah, you'll come back here and you'll be like, oh, you know what? You guys live in Louisville too? Oh my goodness, let's go meet up next time,
Exactly.
and compare our Olive Garden to, Italy.
No, that's so true though, and that's something that we've seen so many times over the years, is that these people travel together. You bond over the experience. You guys know that when you travel and you try to come home and do a little slideshow for your friends,
It's not the same.
There's nothing convincing. You had
to
to have been there, and those are the people who were there with you, and so you bond together and have that experience. We've seen it over and over again that people make friends for life and they travel together over and over.
Let's go back to the experience itself. Let's get down to the nitty-gritty here. When is this trip, and what are the dates, and how long are we going to be able to travel to Italy?
The trip is June 9th, okay?
2024.
2024, and it's 9 days long, okay? So that includes the travel time, and this trip, by the way, includes the flights. The package itself is $39.99.
Wow.
That's incredible.
For 9 days in Italy.
For 9 days in Italy, that's including the taxes and fees and everything, and that's also including the flights.
Wow.
Which, David, you did an interesting thing before.
I did. It's $39.99, you said.
$39.99.
The entire package.
I looked at the flights alone for this trip, $3,000 round trip for just the flight.
And this is just business class, first class?
This is just regular basic economy class. It's the round trip flight. If you did it on your own, it's $3,000.
Yeah, so this is a huge, huge discount.
It's an incredible value. And $39.99 might not seem like a small number, but when you consider what's involved and what's included, especially the airfare, which we've seen airfares to Europe skyrocket in the past couple of years. Hopefully those will stabilize soon. But that's why we put together packages like this that have everything packaged together and make a trip like this affordable.
And you're also going to be eating very well on this trip.
That's right. You're going to come back from this trip and wonder who shrunk all your pants.
Bring all the stretchy pants with you.
Okay, so details on how to get involved and join the very first trip in the KRLD World Tour.
Wonderful. Well, I believe there is a link up at the KRLD website that you can access all of the day-to-day details for this trip. And that's a good way to get a feel, an orientation for what this trip really involves. Because we could sit here and read through the entire itinerary, but it's dense. There's a lot involved, and as I mentioned, we did build in a couple of days of really good free time so you can enjoy yourself. But to get in touch, you can either call us at our 800 number, which is 800-648-4856. We'll be standing by to answer all of your questions, make your reservations, or you can reach out through the KRLD website, actually, that links to our landing page and has a contact form there. And we'll surely answer some of your questions as well.
Well, super exciting for all of us, KRLD, our listeners. We appreciate you all so much that we brought you a world tour. How about that? So don't forget to visit KRLD.com. And that's Casey Carr with Sharon Carr Travel. I hope one of us will get to go with you guys.
Yeah,
Somebody's going.
Yeah, exactly. Why not make it you? And you're going to want to call early because these trips are going to sell out.
Yes. Yeah, they tend to fill quickly, and that's another great thing is that we get to talk to all of our listeners and all of our friends here around the Metroplex and talk travel. What's more fun than that?
Absolutely. Casey, thank you so much, and we're looking forward to it.
Thank you, guys.